If you're into motion design, collage-style animation is one of the easiest and most creative ways to start making real projects. Brands love it. Artists use it to boost visibility and engagement. And today, I'll walk you through how to animate talking characters and facial expressions using this style, even if you're a beginner. Members of the channel can also check the full process of creating assets in Photoshop. As always, you can download the project files linked in the description. So let's jump in. Let's import our PSD file into the After Effects and make it as a composition, editable layer styles, and press OK. Double click main file, and now we have everything we made in Photoshop. We have every layer here and we were going to work on them. First, let's adjust this anchor points of head and body. Now click here to isolate it. Now we have only head here, which looks very weird and scary. Press Y on your keyboard or choose this layer here, pen behind tool, and drag this anchor point somewhere here below the chin. Then let's do the same thing for the body and put the anchor point around here. Now what we're going to do, we will start with pupil. If you remember, we separated in Adobe Photoshop, so we have different layers here as a pupil, but we're going to move them inside of the eye, not like you see now they're going out of the eye and it looks weird, but we're going to make it to stay in the eye. But first we're also going to fix the anchor point here. Choose this. You can also press and hold Control and double click the pen behind tool, and it's automatically it didn't. No, usually it does, but now it didn't, so let's bring it here and again manually fix the anchor point by bringing it to the center, to the pupil. Fix it for eyebrows also. I think it should be somewhere here. It will be easy to rotate it from here, somewhere in the bottom, right? So now we're going to work on these two layers. First, pupil left and pupil right. There's a misspelling. I will just quickly fix it. Let's first I will show you something interesting. Select all layers except pupil left and pupil right, and then press this hide or shy icon, and then press this hides all layers from which the shy switch is set. Shy switch is this and it's set. So we're pressing this and we have only these two layers, which makes the workflow way easier. So now make sure you deselect everything here and start drawing a shape here that represents our eye. Now you can make it invisible because we will not need this. We will need this as a shape. And from matte options, you can press this icon here if you don't have it. Now you have it. It expands or collapses the transfer controls panel. Now from here, from matte options, drag this to our shape layer, and now the magic will appear. Now if we move it here, we see this moves inside of the eye. Here, select pupil layers, press P for position properties, and press to this stopwatch icon and put keyframes. Move them further in the timeline like this, like 5 frames. And for the first frame, let's move them to the left, like this. You can also manually move them like this. So what it does, it's like Michael Scott is looking to us from nowhere. Hi. Good. Now we can select the keyframes, pressing F9, and we ease them. Cool. But we know before the moving pupil in our eye, we usually blink. So let's select blink layer, make it visible, and here we can actually bring the timeline indicator somewhere in the middle and press Ctrl-Shift-D to separate it. Now we have he's blinking and opening his eyes. We can also move it here, and it's more realistic now. We can make it smaller to bring it into the middle even, but it was better, so like this. Now he will start. It's like he's preparing to speak. The first part, I think, is done. We can continue moving this way, but let's make him blink a few times. So choosing blink layer, pressing Ctrl-D to duplicate it, and let's bring it here, and then like position them in the timeline accordingly, like he blinks a few times while he's speaking. We see it's too much, so let's delete this, and let's delete this also. 3 times is enough. Now we can move the keyframes further a bit, and this is also can here. Like it can have a few times here, and now the blinking will look more realistic. But here actually we don't see the animation, you see. So now we can move this keyframes a bit further to see the magic we did actually, right? Because look, after he blinks, the eyes are moving, not like the eyes were there and then here. I think now it's cooler. Now, as we don't need these layers anymore, and we're going to animate his eyebrows. So let's make the all other layers invisible by pressing this shy icon and only leaving this eyebrow. So we have our eyebrow. What do? We were going to adjust its position. Like from here it's initial position, and here it's 10 frames after he's going, the eyebrows going up, not that much, just a bit. Let's see. I can move this further as he speaks, and then the eyebrows obviously coming back to its initial position. Again, easing the keyframes. Let's see. It's too slow, so let's select all of them, press and hold Alt and adjust it. To adjust the keyframes by just dragging them. And I think a few times of this brow eyebrow movement would be okay. So let's copy the keyframes and paste it somewhere here. So let's see. Now it looks fine. So let's select all the layers, deselect this shy thingy, and now let's go to the lips. And now to make it things easier, let's add the background here to see things actually, and we're going to lock it for now. First, what do? We obviously adjust anchor point. You always start with this. It's better if it's here. And for this, let's bring it to the center. Now we can start animating the lips. Here, up lip and down lip. What do? We're adding puppet position pin tool. 3 pins would be okay. Here, for example, one here, one in the center, the another one in the corner. What it will do, it will adjust it as you want, even here. Like let's say here, every position, everything you need. It's the same thing in the second. For the second lips, here, and here. What it does, also adjust it as we want. So The thing is, how do we animate it easily? I think this shape actually, we don't need it. Black background is okay. So here, let's open the properties, mesh, deform. We have 3 pins because we put 3 pins, right? As we put 3 pins, we have the keyframes here, 3 keyframes. We're just finding it, copying, right? And this is the initial position. Moving a frame further, let's say the speaking will start from here. How we know this? Let's come back our main file and we'll see. Here he blinks and here it's better, let's say. Here it's better he starts speaking. So coming back to lips, and we already put the timeline indicator here and it's the same position. So let's put our keyframes here. Moving a few frames further, how many frames exactly? Let's scale, zoom in and see. So 10 frames, I guess 10 frames is enough. Let's first deselect the all puppet tools and then adjust this one only to up. Then moving further, we can also copy these keyframes and paste it here, and then moving again 10 frames and then adjusting like, okay, adjusting like this to the center. And even upper. And then initial copying the first keyframes and pasting here. What it does, it makes it move, as you see. Let's copy these 3 keyframes. We don't need to do it again because we already have it. Copying and pasting it here is way easier. And then again, initial position, copying it here. Look. We can select all the keyframes and ease them by pressing F9. So press U to reveal all keyframes, and let's do the exact same thing for our upper lip. Finding puppet, mesh, deform, and puppet pins. Bringing it here, also pressing U to reveal the keyframes. Here, as our first lip adjusts, we're going to do the same thing for upper lip, like this, to make it, more realistic. It needs to follow the speech as our guy speaks. Now let's see how it looks. Yes, it is too slow, and we're going to also adjust this black shape inside, because we were going to animate it too. It also has to animate at the same time with the lips, but first let's fix the lips. Now what do we do? Just copy all of them and pasting. You can also precisely follow the speech that you're going to put to your animations, but I'm randomly putting the voices, the lips movements here, because tracking it will take more time than we think. So I think this way is the fundamental to learn. Now let's see how it turns out. It looks fine. So only thing left, let's make this come back, the background. Now we need it. Only thing is this, adjusting this shape. How we do this, let's find this path here, So let's put a keyframe for the mask path, and we have a keyframe here, and as is our speech starts from here, right? Let's put the first keyframe here and manually adjust this. Now it opens and we need to adjust this black thing. Adjusting it frame by frame might look very annoying, but if you know the other ways, of course, feel free to share with me, because it will save a huge amount of time for both of us. But I think if we don't know the other way, it's better to continue doing it the way that we know how to do it, because it's always better than not doing it. Now, after doing this, let's actually check how it looks. I think it should look good, but we'll see. We still might have some things to fix. Yeah, I think it looks really okay, but the only thing we need to adjust here is the chin movement while he speaks, because now it looks too static. So what we need to do is add the puppet pins to our head and animate it accordingly. So let's add the one here, here, here. Now, as you see, we can adjust it, but oh my god, everything is going so wrong. So let's put it here, and only this. See, only this, we can adjust it easily. So let's find this mesh, deform, all puppet tools. Opening them, we found our keyframes. We need only, okay, this keyframe, the last one. Actually, first one, puppet pin 1. So let's copy all of them. Press U to reveal only the keyframes, and here our guy opens his mouth. So let's make this like the. Oops. Let's move only. What the hell just happened? Sorry. No, I don't want that. Let's move this puppet pin a bit down, like he's opening when he's opening mouse, like slightly, not much, very slightly. And then here, initial position. Again, here, and again. No, but first it needs to come back to its initial position, so we're copying the first keyframe, pasting it here. Now the opening chin is going to be here also. Again, pasting the initial keyframe, and here again, opening chin keyframe, here the first keyframe right after it. And yeah, in this way you can do this to make it more realistic. But it's up to you, you can also skip this part. Now let's see how it looks. It looks realistic enough, but this head should be under the body layer again. No, I think it looks okay, and let's add rotation to our head, which will make it more realistic, because when we speak we do not just keep our head static, we're moving it obviously. So let's put a rotation and put -2 value. No, it will not work. So why it will not work? Because everything in our head is a different layer, so we need to create a new layer, null object, and everything related to our head is going to be parented to our this null object. And now let's press Y, adjust the anchor point somewhere around here, and do the same thing again, and we'll see now everything moving. Okay, I think now it looks fine. So what do? Let's first select all layers and pre-compose them. First, let's select the 3D for all of them and then pre-compose, and then choose 3D here also. And now let's add position keyframe. It's this initial position and it's going to end in the fourth. Now, in the second frame, and here, what do? We are going to move our Michael to the left. So the Michael will be in the left and he will come center like this, like the news anchor, right? But it's too slow. So what do? We bring this second keyframe a bit closer and then ease the keyframe and go to the speed graph editor and adjust this, something similar to this one. Also, we can adjust motion blur. Now, as you see, we're moving this keyframe further, copying this, putting here, and moving this a bit slightly right to create an overshoot effect. Again, selecting all keyframe, pressing F9 to easing them, and let's adjust this speed graph again. Something similar to this one should work. So it's too sharp, the movement, so what do? We are adjusting it in this way. Also, this first keyframes can be more smoother, like this. Let's add CC render effect. Adjust these points to the up and down, and amount we're just going to like this, change the amount, and there will be something like this. So put an amount, keyframe is his last position, so it should be like this, and our Michael will move somewhere like this. Great. Now what we need to do is pressing P and pressing Alt and holding it and pressing stopwatch icon to add a wiggle effect. 2.5. is, I think, is a lot, so 1.5. Yeah, I think this putting the amount from 13 to 5 is making this animation more appealing. Now here you see we adjusted the pupil, but actually after making this and starting scene, the pupil is not really visible, so we can work on it a bit more. For example, let's choose both of them and then press P for position properties and put keyframes, move it further in the timeline and just very slightly move them down, and then copy the first keyframes, move them further and paste it here. Now it will just slightly move and it will make probably the more realistic look. And it can happen here, somewhere around here again. So let's choose all of these keyframes, copy it and paste it here. Now let's see. Now I think it looks fine, but only thing is when he speaks there is no teeth, as you see, so it looks like he's old and he lost his old teeth. Let's just fix it. So let's enter the composition and enter the lips composition, I mean the pre-compose, Now we are going to add teeth here. So I found this picture online. I will show you the picture now. This, I think it should work in our case. We're just scaling it down and putting here, obviously, and adjusting the size as it's our original teeth, and put it above the shape. So when he speaks, actually there is a teeth, but it's too big. So to adjust this, we're going to simply adjust the size of this and put it here, because it's easier, because when we speak the teeth actually is not moving, so they're just staying static, and we're going to follow this rule. And when he speaks, we see there's a teeth, but when he opens mouth fully, here we see that we have some space here, but which is impossible for the anatomy of the teeth, right? So let's just adjust this by scaling it up, and now let's check actually how it looks. I think this is a better way. Now let's choose the matte options to shape layer. Here, and now let's see how it looks. And now it looks only like teeth in his mouth, nothing else. So how do we adjust this? Because this is invisible, right? And now it's visible. Let's see how it looks now. I think we can still work on it a bit by adjusting the size of it. I mean, it can be easier to do it on Photoshop, but it's also possible doing it in After Effects. So I'm trying to make it in After Effects to show you that it's possible. But if not, we're going to move to the Photoshop. Now it's kinda weird. I don't know what's wrong, but probably the position of the lips is wrong. So let's duplicate them. Let's choose only this, and by pressing this, we're going to draw a mask and separate them in After Effects. And then we're going to change the positions of them, which will make it more realistic. We're just drawing around the teeth a shape which will create a mask and then separate them. So we have this separately. Now let's put it up here and this a bit down. So we'll see. Now I think it's way better. Only problem here is, as you see, this part, the corner is like it shouldn't be that visible. So we're going to again to the lips, and we can easily here adjust, no, not the mask, but the size of teeth, something like this. And we can move it down a bit, because they're barely visible when we speak, but they are visible. I think now it should be perfect. Really, I think it's nice, but still there is one problem in the corner, and we need to fix it. We need to fix it to make it look more realistic. So let's adjust it once more, and now it's not visible, but we can fix it by just bringing it up. We'll see now. I think now it looks completely fine. Let's adjust the position of the pupil again, because we adjusted it too little, and now we're going to fix this problem. We can also move it here, and we'll see. I think now we can easily say that we achieved what we wanted. Now what left is just adding details to the background, shadows, textures, and I will show you how to do this. Okay, I have added a few elements here to our main composition, and these are just PNG files, except this paper. It's the paper texture, and I choose to multiply here and change the opacity to 52. Let's make it 50. Now this is just the paper texture, which makes the collage animation more collage look like. And the next one, it's this watch, then window, then this office, like it's from real show, their interior, their layout, and here is a door. And now we have a Dwight here, and I will try to make him pop up from like down like this. And how do we do this? I will show you. It's just the same thing that we did, because we choose the matte options here. For example, no matte, and he's coming here. But this is the picture, web office picture, and we are choosing the matte options from this PNG to the picture itself. Now it's gone, but we're making it visible, so it's visible again. So we have our layout, and like our main guy is appearing out of nowhere, so we need to, I think if we make these other elements to appear also out of nowhere, it would look much better. So that's being said, let's start with the door. Press P for position properties and put a keyframe. But first, before doing all of this, let's create these shapes, these layers. Let's make these layers 3D. Now pressing P for position properties, moving it further in the timeline and adjusting and also clicking on this motion blur. Then same thing for the window. Let's just make it invisible. Now window, we're going to also appear from the left side, let's say. Or it can appear from above, even. Let's make it appear from below. And select the motion blur. And the watch will appear from above. Also motion blur. Now select all keyframes, press F9 to ease them. Go to graph editor and choose this point and adjust this speed graph to make it more smoother. Now let's see how it looks. It looks nice, but let's offset the layers to make it even better. Now it looks okay. Now let's make these layers visible, and we're going to parent them to the window layer, and in this way they will move together like this. It looks fine, but this guy, the white, shouldn't be here. He should appear later. So let's press P for position properties again. Put a keyframe, move it further. And for the first keyframe, let's move it down. And move the last keyframe further. And let's ease this too. And actually the guy from the window can appear a bit later. Let's say here. Or even later. Let's say here. Now, why we made this 3D, you might ask, and I will show you now why. Because after everything done, we can create nice zoom in effect by creating the camera layer and then creating another null object. We're going to parent this camera to this null object and making this null object 3D. And now by adjusting the position like this, we can move and move further and make a nice zoom in effect. Let's put two position keyframes, one here and one can be at the end, making our all elements zooming in slightly. Now I think it looks nice, and the last thing we need to adjust the colors by adding adjustment layer. So let's look for Lumetri color effect, adding to this adjustment layer, and here by basic correction and stuff we can change the color. We can play around with this to find the best result. We can adjust the sharpen here. It's up to you. You can do it however you want. Just play around and you will find the best result. Let's put two keyframes to the vignette. One here and press adjustment layer, press U to reveal that keyframe. We see it's here. Bring it to the beginning. And somewhere at the end we'll see that it's happening. We're going to adjust the amount to the -1, and we can also ease them. It's up to you. You can also leave it like this. So let's see. And the very last thing I would like to do to add the shadow behind our speaking guy. And to do this, let's create an ellipse shape like this. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be a shadow. So let's move it somewhere here and put it behind our hero. Our hero is Michael Scott here. So we put it here, it's not visible, and let's go for effects. And now let's search for fast box blur effect and let's add it to the shape. Now adjusting blur radius, we can create the shadow, something like this. And now you see it's here how it will going to appear. Let's add scale keyframes, put it here, and then for the first keyframe adjust it, let's unlink it and adjust it manually here. Like there is no shadow, but there will be. Something like this. So we can also ease them, and now let's see how it looks. So the Michael arrived somewhere here, so let's move it here and try again. I think it looks nice. We achieved a pretty nice collage animation, which we created the speaking and face expressions. I hope you learned a lot from this video. If not a lot, at least something. If you did, please subscribe and leave a comment, like the video, everything that YouTube wants. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.
My philosophy is basically this, and this is something that I live by.